What's good? It's your boy Fanon. Gonna talk a little Manny Pacquiao today, man. Gonna talk a little Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao apparently has fired Freddie Roach. And Boo Boy Fernandez is now going to be his trainer for the next for his next fight. So, you know, that's about what, 5 years too late or 5 years late. Seems like he's trying to break up everything. Before I do that, or break up his whole camp, you know, smart in the later part of his career, would have been smarter in the earlier part of his career when he really had some years ahead of him to take advantage. But you know, hey man, it is what it is, and it's never too late to make a good decision. Now, before I get into the specifics of it, please, we're going to be doing live stream later today, doing pretty much every day, sometimes 2 a day, most times 1 a day, but I don't schedule them at a regularly scheduled time. So the best way to know about them is to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of when the live streams occur. Now, sometimes you still might have to check the channel to see when the live streams are coming out, because the algorithm with this platform, it's just real interesting. They don't notify everybody, all of the people, all of your subscribers every time that you have one, even if they hit the bell icon. There's I'm not quite sure what their logic is behind that, but still, you will get notifications if you hit the bell icon. So anyway, it is what it is. I hope you accept my invitation to attend the live streams, because we talk about this subject and we talk about a lot of other ones that I don't necessarily have the time to make specific videos about. And it's a very good, mature crowd of boxing fans, and boxing fans in there. So with that, let me go into this article. Michael Kantz, who is Kantz, Pacquiao not pleased with Roach's comments, tabs Boo Boy. It's official. 8-division world champion Manny Pacquiao, 59, 7-2 with 38 KOs, will return to the ring without his longtime trainer, Freddie Roach. Pacquiao has been trained by Roach since 2001, and the two have worked side by side for 34 fights. The Filipino superstar will challenge WBA regular welterweight champion Lucas Matisse, who's 39-4 with 36 KOs, on July 14th in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The bout will be Pacquiao's first since suffering a shocking 12-round decision loss at the hands of Jeff Horn, which took place last July before a crowd of 51,000 at the Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane, Australia. Pacquiao's manager, Michael Kantz, has confirmed that Roach will be replaced by the boxer's best friend and assistant trainer, Boo Boy Fernandez. That's Manny's decision. Manny told me Boo Boy will be handling the training for this fight, Kantz said to ESPN. What's important to Manny is that he has one voice to listen to in the corner that he trusts, and I guess that's Boo Boy for this fight. Roach, a Hall of Fame trainer, was not given any notice of the change. Kantz would not specify the exact reasons for the parting of the ways, but says Pacquiao was not happy with aspects of Roach's work in the Horn fight, and he wasn't happy with some of the statements Roach has made in the press. There were some concerns Manny had in the last fight and some statements Freddie made to the media that Manny wasn't very pleased about, Kantz said. Kantz also declined to discuss Pacquiao's promotional status with Top Rank. The boxer has claimed that his contract has expired, while Top Rank claims the deal is still ongoing. We're working together on this fight, Kantz said. They've done a good job for us for a long time, and we've done a good job for them for a long time. So we're working with them on this fight. We don't have any disputes with Top Rank. Hopefully, this fight with Matisse is a big success and Manny is victorious, and then we can see if we do a fight with Vasily Lomachenko with Top Rank in the fall. Now, while he's getting rid of Freddie Roach, he needs to get rid of Michael Kantz too. But that is what it is, man. I guess you do need a promoter and a manager in the United States, and hey, man, it is what it is. But this has been long overdue, man. This whole thing has been long overdue for Manny Pacquiao, and we talked about it, in a bunch of videos. Definitely before I talked about it before the Jeff Horn fight, after the Jeff Horn fight, all the nonsense going on there with Bob Arum, and the way that he did Manny Pacquiao with, if nothing else, the rematch clause, and his manager Michael Kantz with the rematch clause for the Jeff Horn fight, where they said that thing needed to happen in Australia. If Michael Kantz is his manager, and I have to assume that Manny Pacquiao, isn't a lawyer, right? And he's not the one that's breaking down his contracts. You would think that Michael Kantz would have noticed that the rematch clause that Manny Pacquiao had made it certain that he had to defend it again, that he had to take the rematch in Australia. Now, there's an outside chance that Michael Kantz just thought it was a gimme fight, so he didn't care. But even if that's the case, and he didn't think that was an important detail, then hey, man, still he needs to go. Because Manny Pacquiao really could have had, and he said that he did want to have the rematch with Jeff Horn, but he didn't want to do it in Australia. He wanted to do it in Asia, or he wanted to do it in the United States. Now, that whole story that was told by Bob Arum, where they said, they don't have any financial backers, they don't have anything, anything necessary, doesn't have the money or the stuff necessary to make a fight happen, right? All that's out of the window, because the very next fight that was made, Manny made in Kuala Lumpur. And honestly, man, this could be for the WB if it had not been for Michael Kantz and Bob Arum and whoever it was that read that deal and signed up to a rematch clause that had to be on the road. He could have been fighting for the WBO title against Jeff Horn in Kuala Lumpur. But that's out of the window, and that's not out of the window because of Freddie Roach. That's out of more. I don't believe that Freddie Roach is the one negotiating those deals. That's out the window because of Bob Arum and because of Michael Kantz. And I mean, as Michael Kantz as his manager, and even listening to the tune of this comment, where Manny Pacquiao's spokesman and lawyer in the Philippines is saying, look, we're out of this contract. Here you got Kantz doing a nice little tap. Like, clearly Michael Kantz is interested in continuing to have that relationship with Top Rank. Michael Kantz more than likely was put in contact with Manny Pacquiao through Top Rank. Michael Kantz is a well-known manager, and Manny Pacquiao's years, there's only a certain amount of years left in that Manny Pacquiao train. And Michael Kantz is going to want to do business again at some point in time if he doesn't already have other fighters that he represents that works with Top Rank. So it's just like, man, you got to be really careful when you deal with people as your agents, people as your managers, and people as your trainers who really don't work for you. And it's been a case for years that Michael Kantz has been accused by people in the Philippines of that. I mean, for years he's been accused of that, of essentially being a Bob Arum shadow. There was an article that had come out several years ago. It was written by a guy named Leo Reyes, and it's in you can catch it now on the digitaljournal.com. And like, this is what was said. Kantz has been denounced many times in the past by local boxing stakeholders for mismanaging boxers under the MP Promotions umbrella, as well as other Filipino boxers who want to be included in the undercard of Pacquiao's fights in the U.S. The case of Filipinos aspiring boxer Ernie Sanchez, who was sidelined in favor of a Mexican fighter despite a reported signed agreement or signed contract with Bob Arum's Top Rank Promotions, is one example of utter disregard for fairness in treating aspiring Filipino boxers. 2 days before his fight to the U.S. To prepare for the fight, Sanchez got news that he was dropped by Top Rank upon request of Michael Kantz. Sanchez was scheduled to face Diego Magdaleno, another top-ranked fighter who knocked out Jorge Pazos in the fourth round of a lightweight 10-rounder. Pios is the replacement on the card for Sanchez. Kantz claimed that Sanchez was of no match against Magdaleno in a 10-round event. But why did Top Rank sign Sanchez in the first place if he wasn't sure of the capability of the guy? And the article basically goes on to talk about how despite Kantz's seeming indifference to Filipino boxers and promoters, as well as his reported riff over some members of Pacquiao's team, Pacquiao has refused to fire Kantz, who has been tagged by fans as Arum'S shadow in Team Pacquiao. It's also possible that Pacquiao is being prevented by Arum to fire Kantz so as not to jeopardize the ongoing tax probe by the IRS and the BIR into Pacquiao's tax liabilities. Now this is back in 2014. So for years, Michael Kantz is essentially been accused by people that are close to Manny Pacquiao of being being basically working for Bob Arum. So you got Freddie Roach that pretty much works for Bob Arum. You got your manager that works for Bob Arum, right? And now you have Michael Kantz saying things like, we're working together on this fight. They've done a good job for us for a long time, and we've done a good job for them for a long time. So we're working with them on this fight. We don't have any disputes with Top Rank. Yes, you do have a dispute with Top Rank, Kantz. Manny Pacquiao saying he's not under contract with them. But watch this, man. He's going to be right there. He's going to be right there, back tied again to Top Rank. And it's not going to be that Freddie Roach ain't going to be the reason. It's going to be Michael Kantz is the reason. When you guys it's like they take these poor kids, because that's what Manny Pacquiao was. Manny Pacquiao was a hungry boxer. Used to sell donuts on the street of General Santos City, or maybe it was Manila that he sold donuts on the side of the street with. He fights his way out of that, but the cat the dude is clearly not going to business school. He's clearly not going to law school, and he's coming over from the Philippines over to the United States. He's trying to get his way to build Manny Pacquiao Promotions and get other Filipino fighters over to the United States and build their names as well in the country that he comes from. But you got his manager who's playing both sides of the fence. Like, yeah, Manny, just sign another. Yeah, sign with us again. Yeah, and we'll make sure we get these other fighters, signed to Top Rank as well. It's you, and that way, your people will get a shot on these big cards. We can grow the big Filipino interest in boxing in the United States, and everybody can benefit. Meanwhile, Bob Arum's like, hey, I don't care. I don't care about that. I just want Manny Pacquiao. Hey, Michael, get Manny Pacquiao to sign a damn contract. I mean, how else could you explain this type of stuff, man? And to boot, you have a situation where Michael Kantz is saying that we don't have any conflict with Top Rank. Who's he working for? Anyway, man. So when I read this article about Manny Pacquiao firing Freddie Roach, I'm like, yeah, man. How about you fire Michael Kantz? Because Michael Kantz is clearly in the bag for Bob Arum, man. That's who he's going to have most of his people that he'll sign and get his money from. Those money and those paychecks he knows perfectly well come from Bob Arum. And to him, Manny Pacquiao is just a product. You need to get your own. And see, that's another thing. Now, who is this particular guy, right? He's the manager, right? He's the manager. And Bob Arum's the promoter. But you remember the Alley Act separated the functions of a manager from a promoter? That was a whole big issue with the lawsuit that was filed against Al Heyman, saying that Al Heyman was being a promoter, but there has to be a separation legally there, but based on the Ali Act, to the extent that they enforce it and people don't sign away their rights under the Ali Act within their contracts and their agreements, which I've read and seen I've seen happen. As long as you have a promoter and a manager, then that basically the promoter owns the boxer, because he's not just selling the fight, he's handling the finances and handling the money of the fighter, right? So being a promoter should mean that you're just promoting, you're just selling. But a manager is responsible for the day-to-day activities of a fighter. And when Al Heyman did that stuff, was signed a bunch of people to exclusive managerial contracts and now allowed them to jump between promoters, you have exactly what was meant to be prevented in the Ali Act in the relationship between Michael Kantz and Bob Arum. So, all right, fire. You can go ahead and fire. Manny can go ahead and fire Freddie Roach, who's a trainer. And I think Freddie Roach is Freddie Roach is a good trainer, knows what he's doing in a boxing ring. I mean, I don't know how much, he's still bringing to the table to Manny Pacquiao, because Manny Pacquiao has not gotten noticeably better with him. Now he's older now, right? But, they went a long way together. And maybe Boo Boy's been in the corner the whole time. He's been in all the fights. I do believe Boo Boy was working with him before Freddie Roach was working with him. Looking back on those early videos of Manny Pacquiao, throwing punches in a gym that looks pretty much like a garage, So, I'm not sure what that's going to do for him, but, him trying to get away from Bob Arum is not going to be helped at all as long as he's still with Michael Kantz, because Michael Kantz could very well just be tanking it for him. And I'll go back to the example that I used before. How do you have your fighter, who is the cash cow in an arrangement, have a rematch clause where a rematch clause in the contract where the rematch has to take place in the hometown of the person that you get the rematch against? How do you let that go? I mean, that's not something you should miss. But hey, man, if he's in bed with the promoter, if he says, hey, well, I really think that, let's be real, man, Manny Pacquiao got about 3 more fights and I got to eat for the next, 15, 20 years. A boxer's lifespan, as far as being a major bread earner, might be 10, 13 years on the outside, and especially the way guys like Freddie Roach train people to fight. It's shorter than that, because they're teaching, like Abel Sanchez, getting them to throw their heads in the middle of there, right? Just, hey, man, be exciting, get knockouts. If you get knocked out, that's okay. Take 2 to give 1. That's what that's why the trainers like Abel Sanchez and these guys are teaching fighters to do. So you wind up, hurt, right? So your lifespan's even shorter. So with these boxers with these short lifespans, right? Boxing professional lifespans, right? And messing around with guys like Abel Sanchez and Freddie Roach is telling you to stick your head in there. You might have a short actual lifespan. The manager is going to be thinking about having a fighter after next fighter after next fighter after next fighter. And where are they going to get those fighters from? They get those fighters from the promoters. They get the fighters from the promoters, because the manager doesn't have the ability, unless you are an Al Heyman, the manager isn't going to have the ability to negotiate fight cards with Showtime and to negotiate venues like the Barclays Center and the MGM Grand, right? And the O2, no, it's not O2. I think that's in Wimbledon. What is it? The T-Mobile Arena. I'm thinking O2. I believe that's in the UK. But you know what I mean? So, all right, man, Manny, you fired. You fired, or you pushed off Freddie Roach for this fight. That's cool, but you're still doing business with Michael Kantz. Now, could there be some blackmail involved in that stuff? Yeah, absolutely. There could also be, where he says he knows something about, where he has certain inside information about Manny Pacquiao and things Manny Pacquiao's done in the past, where he might say, oh, for your public image and your need to be, the president of the Philippines, if you don't do what I say, I'm gonna let this stuff out. I wouldn't put that past him either. So, man, it's just, oh, what a tangle web we weave. And, so I don't necessarily feel sorry for Freddie Roach. Freddie Roach is going to get more boxers. He won't get paid on this fight in Malaysia, right? But, it is what it is for him. I'm glad to see Manny Pacquiao separating his, trying to get his stuff straight. And it's never too late to make good decisions. But, man, all these boxers talking about leaving Al Heyman, or if they are, I'm not saying there's a lot of people talking about Al Heyman. Be careful what you ask for, man, because you might just get a Michael Kantz. And with that, I'm out. Peace.